Why? We both turn to see Virginia standing there with her hands on her hips. Jacob is right beside her, as is Minnie. Is everything okay? I ask him. Is Hieronymous okay? You know he's not, Aloysius responds quickly. Come, Tori, we must be going. If Hieronymous is in trouble, then we're going too, Virginia says as she steps up beside me. I turn to her sharply. You guys know you're not allowed in the other world without special permission. This might be dangerous. I can't risk you guys coming with me. If it's dangerous, then you might need backup, Minnie reminds me. We may not have been to the other world as much as you have, but we are going to graduate in a few months. We're prepared. But you haven't graduated yet, I argue. If Potsdam finds out that you entered the other world without getting her permission first, especially somewhere this dangerous, she could expel you and then you'd lose all of your memories of your magic and your families. You can't risk that. You're risking your magic then too, Virginia points out, and I gnaw on my lip nervously. Potsdam had promised that she wouldn't expel me, but I didn't know if there was some loophole that she had thought of beforehand. Regardless, I had to go. If Hieronymous was in danger, this couldn't wait months. Everyone is silent for a moment. Will you vouch for us? Jacob asks as he looks up at Aloysius. You and Potsdam go way back. Iris Academy students are allowed in the other world under special conditions if they are properly supervised. It's how Hieronymous was able to get her permission to let us attend Thanksgiving dinner at Ravane. And why we weren't punished when we went through the other world to get to school during summer break. Virginia pipes up. So, will you vouch for us? Jacob continues, and Aloysius hesitates for a moment before he lets out a sigh. Fine, Aloysius says. He takes a large orb out of his pocket and holds it out to us. Place your hand on the orb. It will take us where we need to go. I glance over my shoulder to see Minnie, Jacob, Virginia, Donald, and Becky standing there, all looking as nervous as I feel. Becky, you stay here with Donald, I tell her. Someone needs to tell your parents where we went. You'd better hurry up and go then, Donald says quietly. If they saw what you were doing, they might try to stop you. That was an excellent point. Without waiting, I quickly turn to the orb and place my hand on it, much like I had done during my freshman exam. It glows white as my hand touches it, and Virginia, Minnie, and Jacob put their hands on it as well. Here we go, Aloysius says, and I close my eyes as I can feel myself tumbling through space. At first, I think we're going to the foyer of Ravane Cottage, but this feels more like when we traveled out to Bege's lands. We keep swirling through nothing, and I feel like I'm on a teacup ride in an amusement park, being spun around and around with no reprieve. When we do finally land, we all clutch onto each other for support. I can feel an immense heat all around me, and as I look up, Minnie's whispered assertion in my ear matches my own thoughts. We shouldn't be here. There is black volcanic rock everywhere I look. The sky is a deep crimson mixing with what looks to be long purple clouds that hover on the horizon. All around us, there are creatures with blue skin and bat wings, although most of them have the face of small pugs. I hear a squawk from off to my right, and I turn to see a crow sitting on a decaying tree branch. It blinks, and when it opens its eyes again, I see two sets of glowing red eyes, just like in the vision I saw in my scrying orb. Welcome. A booming voice causes us all to jump and turn around. There is a giant demon sitting on what looks to be a throne of volcanic rock. He is easily over 20 feet tall, with huge purple wings that might be as wide as he is tall. He has long red hair, ocean blue skin, and a pair of fangs that hang over his lower lip. There is only one thought that comes to my mind. This must be the Demon King. I remember telling Hieronymous that Damien's family could always come after us for killing him, But Hieronymus had told me that there were things about the other world I didn't know. He didn't elaborate, and I had never asked him, but now I wish I had. I brought the girl, Aloysius says, grabbing my arm as he drags me forward. I try to protest, turning to my friends for help, but they all seem too stunned to move. Aloysius lowers his voice to a whisper. I'm sorry about this, Tori, but you did always say that you'd give your life to protect Hieronymus. Now I need you to follow through. What? I gasp as Aloysius holds me out in front of him. Hieronymus? Where's Hieronymus? The demon leans forward as if to steady me. As he speaks, I can smell the thick stench of sulfur on his breath, and it makes me dizzy. Is this what Damien would have eventually become if he had taken my soul? I see what you mean. The girl is filled with the old magic. She has been blessed by the 3 kindred. As I said, Aloysius replies, a fair trade is a fair trade. This girl for my son. The demon waves his hand, and all of a sudden, Hieronymus appears on a slab in front of us. He's lying on his back, eyes closed, completely still. Hieronymus! I finally break away from Aloysius and run up to him, smoothing back his hair. He's cold, despite how hot it is around us, and I can't tell if he's breathing. I quickly grab the stone around my neck, and I can just feel his heartbeat, slow and reluctant. What did you do to him? I demand as I look up at the demon. What spell is this? It's not a spell. I hear a familiar voice, and I think I might physically throw up as I see Musette suddenly appear on the other side of the stone slab. Musette? I demand. What are you doing here? I know all about what happened to Ellen, Musette snaps at me. She was expelled, and I'll never get to see her again. It's your fault she was expelled. You told Grabby on her, and she got in trouble. Wait. I shake my head back and forth. Ellen was really talking to you through the scrying orb? Not some other demon? It was me sometimes, Musette admits. She was lured into a trap, but I went to save her. She told me she tried to get you to come, but you wouldn't. And then Grabby showed up and took her back, and I lost her forever. Okay, I don't know what Ellen said, but this is a huge misunderstanding, I say quickly. I was worried that Ellen was going to get hurt because we had no way of knowing who she was really talking to. I had no idea that she was really talking to you. I only told Hieronymus about what happened because I knew she was going to get hurt if a demon tricked her. We were trying to save her, not get her expelled. You should have come in to save her yourself and left the teachers out of it, Musette snaps. But that doesn't matter now. I also found out that Grabby killed my boyfriend. Damien had it coming, I tell her harshly, only to hear the Demon King grumble above me. So this is what you did? You and the Demon King partnered up to get revenge on Hieronymus and me? Musette cackles. You killed my boyfriend. You might as well have killed my girlfriend. I just wanted revenge, and now I'm getting it. I sneer at her. Hieronymus was right about you. You're just a spell, a bundle of memories. The real Musette would never take revenge on her friends. I glance down at Hieronymus, who still hasn't so much as moved. Tell me what you did to him. We slipped him golden syrup, Musette replies, and I hear a mini gasp from behind me. I roll around to see her standing with both hands over her mouth, looking absolutely stupefied. What is that? I ask frantically. What is that? What's that mean? It's a sleep elixir, Minnie explains. A powerful one. It puts a person to sleep and they never wake up. He becomes a constant source of mana for them to feed off of until his natural body gives out. I stare down at Hieronymus. He had always been so worried that I was going to become stuck inside my own memories and he was never going to be able to wake me up, and now it seems they had done the same thing to him. Was this supposed to be poetic justice? No magic was ever made to be permanent, Aloysius says loudly as I turn back to him. The girl has old magic. It makes her a far better specimen to draw energy from than my son. We had a deal. Now wake him up and take the girl. The Demon King raises his hand and I suddenly feel myself being levitated into the air. I will accept this offer, he says as he focuses on me. I only need your consent to satisfy archaic rules. Say that you will take Lord Grabiner's place, and it will be done. I stare at him. I always said that when it came down to it, I would risk my life to save Hieronymous. Truth be told, there was nothing else I really wanted to do with my life but spend it with Hieronymous. I loved him more than I thought I could ever love anyone, and I didn't want to live in a world where he wasn't beside me. Aloysius knew that all too well. It is why he had welcomed our marriage, despite the fact that I was still too young to provide any immediate heirs to the Grabiner name. But Hieronymous was the true Grabiner. I didn't know anything about being a Viscountess, and I couldn't continue the line without him. But he could move on from me. He could find someone else and settle down with them and have children and the family he always wanted. In terms of the overall family lineage, I was expendable. Hieronymous was not. But would Hieronymous ever be able to forgive me if he woke up and learned about what I had done? I didn't want to hurt him, but it was doubtful that I would be able to save Hieronymous on my own. Maybe, once he recovered, he could come back and try to save me, if he wasn't too angry at me for taking his place in the first place. I had to look at this logically. Hieronymous was more powerful than I was. He was indispensable to his noble family legacy. I was just an ignorant wild seed girl who, once again, found herself caught up in way more trouble than she could handle. I remember what I had said in Potsdam's office right before she had expelled me. I would never want anything to happen to him. If there was a choice between protecting him or protecting myself, I would choose him every time. I ball my hands into fists as I feel tears squeeze out of the corners of my eyes. I love you, Hieronymous. Please forgive me.